Good evening and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation Virtual Public Information Meeting for Project 46127 for the replacement of Stiles Bridge 1524, carrying Route 191 over the Scantic River in the town of East Windsor. My name is Kevin Blasi and I'm the project manager for the project being presented this evening. On January 28, 2021, our project team presented this project to East Windsor First Selectman Jason Bauza, State Senator Dr. Saoud Anwar, State Representative Jamie Foster, and representatives from East Windsor's Emergency Services. Along with the details specific to the bridge, we discussed the proposed detour and the project schedule, which we'll present to you this evening. We also discussed the bridge's current posted weight limit of 11 tons, which has restricted heavier East Windsor emergency service vehicles from crossing the structure. In its existing condition, the bridge is safe for the passage of all passenger vehicles, as well as trucks that are under the posted weight limit. The department has been working to develop repairs to the truss that are scheduled to be performed over the next few weeks, which will allow for the passage of emergency service vehicles above the posted weight limit. Coordination with the town will continue as we advance the project through its design. Before we begin the formal presentation, I'll explain the format of this evening's meeting and cover some general housekeeping items, and I'll remind this evening's presenters to please be sure your mics are muted at this time. First, I'll introduce the project team from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Bart Sweeney, Division Chief of Bridges. Andy Cardinali, Bridge Design Principal Engineer. Once again, I'm Kevin Blasi, Bridge Design Project Manager. Kentaro Plood, Bridge Design Project Engineer. And the following individuals will be presenting the project to you in a moment. Corey Burrows, Bridge Design Project Designer. Kevin Fleming, Transportation Planner from the Office of Environmental Planning. Kevin will provide an overview regarding scoping of the project under the requirements of the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act. And Matt Giannakopoulos, Right-of-Way Coordinator from the Office of Rights-of-Way, and Matt will provide an overview of the procedures followed by the department for right-of-way impacts to properties and property acquisitions. Following the formal presentation, the project team will host a question and answer session, during which time you'll have the opportunity to ask the project team questions or provide comments regarding the proposed project. The project is at the 30% design phase and is therefore subject to possible changes as the design develops, but this evening's presentation will provide you with a good overview of what can be expected. Your comments and questions are a welcome part of our design process and may serve us in the continued development of our design. During the Q&A session that follows the presentation, there are 3 methods of communicating with the project team. You can send us an email to dotproject46-127@ct.gov. You can leave a voicemail by calling 860-944-1111, or if viewing through MS Teams, you can send us a question through the MS Teams chat window and hit the send button. And I'll go over that in more detail in a moment. If you are viewing through Microsoft Teams, you can post a question or comment by clicking the little question mark to the top right of the presentation window and clicking the My Questions tab or the Ask a Question button. You then have an option to enter your name and type your question into the Ask a Question field. Click the checkbox to post anonymously, then click the double arrow or hit Enter to post a question. Click Featured to view announcements and attendee questions. You may experience a delay before your own sent question is posted. You can exit the questions window by clicking X and can return to it at any time by clicking the Show Q&A question mark. Click the My Questions tab to post another question, or hit X to close the window again. To maximize the presentation window, click the arrow to the bottom right of the presentation window and click the arrow again to reduce the window size. In accordance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and humanity, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. I'll mention this again later, but at the conclusion of our presentation, we would appreciate it if you could take the time to complete our voluntary survey at https://www.surveymonkey, one word, surveymonkey.com/r/VCQYJZ3. The Title VI notice to the public can be found at https://portal.ct.gov/business/contract-compliance/title-vi-page. A recording of the formal presentation will be posted to YouTube within a few days after the live event. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available at that time. And with those housekeeping items now out of the way, I'll hand it off to Corey Burrows to start the formal portion of our presentation. Thanks everybody for your patience.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to those of you who have taken the time out of your evening to join us. Today we're here to talk about Project 46-127, the replacement of Stiles Bridge, Bridge 1524, over the Scantic River in East Windsor. Our goal for this presentation today is to give you all an overview of the project, as well as to address your comments, questions, and concerns. Here's a map view oriented with north at the top of the page with the bridge location circled in red. This is an aerial view of the project location, oriented with the north at the top of the page. Bridge 1524 is centered on the screen and is circled in white. To the west is the intersection of Mahoney Road and Route 191, and to the east is the intersection of Old Ellington Road and Route 191. The existing structure consists of a steel pony truss floor beam system supporting a steel orthotropic deck. The superstructure is founded on a reinforced concrete abutment. The span length is 76 feet 8 inches, and the curb-to-curb width is 27 feet 10 inches, and the bridge overall out-to-out width is 29 feet 0 inches. And based on the latest traffic data, this bridge services an estimated 1,500 vehicles per day. The existing bridge was originally built in 1925 by the Berlin Construction Company and partially rehabilitated in 1987. The Berlin Construction Company, headquartered in Berlin, Connecticut, constructed many similar bridges throughout the Northeast during the early 20th century. Several of these bridges are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and this bridge is eligible for listing. It is a steel pony truss, which was typical of the era for a bridge of this span length. I will now hand it over to Kevin Fleming, who will discuss the SEPA process.
Thanks, Corey, and thank you all for joining us here tonight. My name is Kevin Fleming, and I'm a transportation planner here at DOT in the Office of Environmental Planning. And as previously noted, we're here tonight for a public information / SEPA scoping meeting. Now, what does that mean exactly? What is SEPA and what is SEPA scoping? Well, the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act, or SEPA for short, provides a process for the various state agencies to follow in order to identify and review any action that may significantly affect the environment. Essentially, the core purpose of SEPA is to provide a public process for the state agencies to identify and assess the extent to which a proposed action may affect the environment, and also to evaluate alternatives to avoid or minimize such impacts. Now, a key component of SEPA, and I can't stress this enough, is the public's opportunity to review a proposed project and to provide feedback. So your feedback is not only greatly appreciated, but also it's a very important part of the SEPA process itself. While conducting our review of a project, SEPA requires us to consider both the direct and the indirect impacts a project may have on a really wide range of environmental resources. Now, this slide here shows at a high level the types of physical, natural, and socioeconomic resources we have to take a look at. Now, this isn't necessarily an all-encompassing list, but should give you a pretty good idea of the range of resources we have to consider for each project. Actually, not just only for SEPA in this case, but since this project involves federal funding, we must also consider these resources under NEPA, or the National Environmental Policy Act. So as you can see, we must take a look at everything from air quality and greenhouse gas emissions, potential impacts to cultural resources, floodplains, wetlands, land use and zoning, recreational resources, and really everything in between. So now that you have an idea of what SEPA is and what we have to consider under SEPA as far as the environment goes, what exactly is scoping? Well, scoping under SEPA has a really specific definition, and the process involves some defined specific steps for public outreach. Under SEPA, scoping is defined as the gathering and analysis of information that a state agency will use to establish the breadth of environmental review of a proposed project. Now, that scoping process begins when we publish a notice of the project in the Environmental Monitor. Now, the Environmental Monitor is an online publication run by the Connecticut Council on Environmental Quality, or CEQ. Now, that publication kicks off a minimum 30-day public comment period. So for this particular project, we published that notice on April 20th, and that kicked off the SEPA scoping process. And comments will be accepted through the end of the process, which would be Friday, May 21st. The idea really is to solicit comments from the various regulatory agencies, municipalities, and the public to identify any potential alternatives, and also to identify any specific aspects of the environment that need to be analyzed. Often the local community, as you know, has unique knowledge of the project area, including any potential community concerns or information on the various resources in a particular area. Ultimately, this will help us determine if there are any significant environmental impacts associated with the project, and if there is a need to undertake a detailed and comprehensive environmental impact evaluation, or an EIE. Here is kind of a really high-level chart of the SEPA process. It shows where we are currently, and those are the boxes outlined in red, and then what the next steps are under SEPA. As I previously mentioned, once we determined that this project was subject to a SEPA review, we published a notice of it in the Environmental Monitor back on April 20th, and then that officially kicked off the SEPA scoping phase for the project. For this particular project, we're required to undergo a SEPA review because it involves the replacement of a bridge that's eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. We've been working with the State Historic Preservation Office, or SHPO, and we will continue to do so along with the Federal Highway Administration and any other identified historic stakeholders to develop a Memorandum of Agreement, or an MOA. Now, the MOA will outline the specific stipulations required for mitigation for affecting the historic resource. Once the scoping period ends, we'll go ahead and review all the comments we received, and we'll consider any environmental impacts that the project may have, and then we'll determine if any of the impacts are potentially significant. Based on that information, we'll determine if an environmental impact evaluation, or an EIE, is required or not. An EIE is a really comprehensive and detailed document that analyzes any significant environmental impacts on a project, and also compares the impacts of any alternatives considered. An EIE is required for projects that appear to involve significant impacts. And then once a determination is made to undergo an EIE or not, That determination will be published in the Environmental Monitor, along with a synopsis of the comments we received and our responses. Now I'll go ahead and hand the presentation back over to Corey, who will go through the specifics of the project itself.
Thank you, Kevin. On the left is an image of the South Bridge elevation, and on the right is an image of the North Bridge elevation. This is a 3D rendering of the existing structure, highlighting the main bridge elements. First, we have the bridge deck. This provides the riding surface for traffic. Next, we have the floor beams and truss members, which together form the superstructure of the bridge. This carries the load from the deck and transfers it to the substructures at the end of the bridge, which then carry the load to the ground. The state's bridges are inspected biannually to monitor changes in condition. The bridge was inspected in January 2021, and the following table presents the element ratings for the deck, superstructure, and substructure. These elements are rated on a scale of 1 to 9, with 1 being imminent failure and 9 being excellent. Only when a bridge drops to a poor condition, rating 4, does it become a candidate for a rehabilitation or replacement project. Although the superstructure is now rated as serious, rating 3, we would like to reiterate that the bridge remains safe for all passenger vehicles and trucks under the 11-ton posted weight limit and poses no safety concern to the public. The repairs to the truss, which will occur over the next few weeks, will strengthen the bridge to permit passage of East Windsor emergency vehicles, but the bridge will remain posted for the 11-ton weight limit. This is an outside beam of the deck. Note the 1/8 inch section loss on the lower portion of the beam web, as well as the laminated rust on the bottom flange. Here we see a beam and bolted connection with laminated rust and surface rust. This is a close-up of the bolted connection from the previous slide. Note the bolt heads with rose budding. This is due to laminated rust forming around the bolt heads. The bridge bituminous overlay is deteriorated with cracking and isolated potholes. The lower truss members have areas of laminated rust and measurable section loss. This photo shows rust and section loss within the interior of a lower truss member. This is a photo of a rusted bearing and beam containing section loss. The load carrying capacity of the existing foundation, founded on timber piles, cannot be determined with certainty and therefore cannot be reused. As a result, we are proposing an approximate 125-foot long steel multi-girder bridge. It will be founded on a new pile-supported concrete foundation which spans the existing substructure. The proposed finished roadway will be higher than the existing to raise the low chord of the bridge and increase underclearance of the Scantic River during storm events. Other structure types may be considered as the design progresses. However, the noted substructure and hydraulic constraints are among the determining factors of the design and the selection of a structure. We are proposing a local realignment of Route 191 to improve the highway safety. These improvements include an increase in curve radius and stopping sight distance at both curves. To the west, you'll see the existing curve highlighted in red. And here is the proposed curve highlighted in green. To the east, we have the existing curve again highlighted in red, and the proposed curve highlighted in green. These improvements are designed to improve the stopping sight distance and improve safety. We will explain stopping sight distance as it relates to this in the next few slides. Why improve the stopping sight distance, you may be wondering. Let's explore this. Here's the existing condition. The blue lines represent the sight line of the blue car, and the yellow car represents the farthest the driver in the blue car can see. The speed of 24 miles per hour indicates the safe travel speed under normal conditions that allows the driver to see an obstacle, react, and stop before colliding with the obstacle. This speed decreases with impairments to the driver and road conditions. The existing curve is below standard for the posted speed limit on this stretch of highway at both curves. What are we proposing? Here is the worst case stopping sight distances along the proposed realignment. The west curve has a longer sight line and an increased safe travel speed from 24 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. However, this is still below the posted speed limit. The east curve sight line has been increased and the safe travel speed has been increased to 35 miles per hour, matching the posted speed limit. These improvements offer greater visibility for drivers and increased safety for both the driver and those they share the road with, whether it be joggers, cyclists, or walkers. So what if we just build the new bridge and we don't change the highway? Well, if the bridge location, span length, and skew were all the same as what's there now, then this may be an option. However, due to the increased span length, we have more things to consider. It's department policy to not make conditions worse when carrying out a project of this nature. As you can see, doing nothing to the curves decreases both the length of sight lines as well as the safe travel speed. The proposed realignment will have the following right-of-way impacts. At 40 Mahoney Road, we are proposing a partial land acquisition for the construction of the new curve of Route 191 and an easement for the slope supporting the roadway. At the east curve, our proposed right-of-way impact would include a partial land acquisition at the property adjacent to 13 Old Ellington Road for the construction of the new curve, and an easement for the slope supporting the roadway. I will now hand it over to Matt Giannakopoulos, who will provide a brief summary of right-of-way law and the acquisition process.
My name is Matt Giannakopoulos, and I am a project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights of Way. It is our office's responsibility to acquire the property rights needed for transportation projects. The proposed project design requires the acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of the department's right-of-way acquisition process. Please keep in mind, though, that the specific impacts are still being fine-tuned and may change as the design progresses. Any property rights that will be required will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, Sections 13A-73 and 13A-98E. Whenever there is federal money used in any aspect of a project, the department must adhere to the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. Once the design has moved to the point where we are ready to begin the acquisition process, each affected property owner will receive a formal letter of intent to acquire from our office, along with a property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. At that point, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights and use that value to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner and explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable time, typically at least 30 days, to consider the state's offer and enter into negotiations. If an agreement is reached, the states will prepare all the necessary paperwork and record the deed and the property map on the town land records. However, if negotiations reach an impasse, in order to keep everything on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money that was deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner, subject to the discretion of the Superior Court. I know a lot of people, when they hear the phrase eminent domain, thinks that it means the state just takes their property for $1. However, the owners are entitled to at least the state's original offer of just compensation, and the state only takes title to the property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the department's right-of-way acquisition process, I'd be happy to address them once the presentation has concluded.
Thank you, Matt. We have 3 utilities on site. At this point, we anticipate only impacting 2 of them. We do not anticipate impacting the 16-inch underground water main to the north. We will need to permanently relocate the south side overhead utilities. The south side 15-inch underground sewer main will be temporarily relocated for the duration of the project and permanently replaced upon completion. Temporary utility relocations are anticipated to be completed in the fall before construction begins. The proposed detour is approximately 11 miles and utilizes Route 140, Route 5, and Route 191 to the north and south of the bridge. The proposed detour duration is anticipated to be approximately 9 months, running from March through November of 2023. The demolition of the existing structure and construction of the proposed structure will occur during this time. It's the department's policy to establish signed detours along state routes whenever possible, and to avoid detours which direct vehicles to local routes. There are shorter routes around the bridge in which local roads could be used by residents, but the department will not post signs for these routes. A full bridge closure and detour is required because the existing bridge is a truss structure. Due to the structure type, it's not possible to remove half of the bridge and maintain continuous live traffic on the other half while the new bridge is constructed in stages. The department understands the impact that a lengthy detour, both in miles and time, will have on town residents. As the design continues to develop, we will thoroughly investigate accelerated bridge construction methods, which may shorten the time the detour will need to be in place. Coordination with the appropriate regulatory agencies is ongoing. At this stage, we anticipate the following permits: individual flood management certification, pre-construction notification, Connecticut Addendum USA CE general permit, and the general water resource construction activities. The project will begin with the utility relocation in fall of 2022. And then beginning in spring 2023, Route 191 over the bridge will be closed and detour implemented for an approximately 9-month term spanning from March 2023 to November of 2023. Demolition of the existing and construction of the proposed is expected to last for a single construction season. Based on the current level of design, the project is estimated to cost $9 million. The project will be funded using 80% federal and 20% state funds. There will be no local funds required for this project.
Thank you, Corey. And that concludes our formal presentation for the project. I'd like to thank the project team for a great job in putting the presentation together. And I'd also like to thank those people behind the scenes who were instrumental in helping us get this live event out to all of you who are viewing it tonight. Once again, our project team will be monitoring the chat window, the project email, and the phone line for any questions or comments that you'd like to ask or offer, and we'll do our best to answer them with as much detail and clarity as possible. Since we are monitoring the chat, email, and phone in real time, please understand that there may be a delay from the time you submit a question to the time it is posted to the chat window and addressed by our project team. Please remember that the comment period is open through May 21st. So if you think of a question after this event has ended, or if we provide an answer to a question this evening, but you'd like additional details, please reach out to us at any point through the comment period and we'll get back to you with an answer. So to reiterate, you can reach us at this time by sending us an email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov. That's dotproject46-127@ct.gov. You can reach us by phone by leaving a voicemail at 860-944-1111, and both the email and the phone will be available through May 21st. Or you can send us a chat through MS Teams tonight. Whether contacting us through email or voicemail, we will not include your name with your question unless you specifically request us to do so. And remember, if you send a comment by MS Teams chat, you will have the option to post a question anonymously. All questions that come in during the session will be posted to the chat window and read aloud for the project team to answer. In the coming days, the formal portion of this presentation will be posted to the YouTube project channel, and a report of meeting which captures the event's Q&A session will be posted to the project webpage. Closed captioning options will be available for the YouTube video at that time. If you have the time to accommodate us, we'd also really appreciate it if you'd take our survey at https://www.surveymonkeys.com/r/v-c-q-y-j-z3. Results from the survey will be used to provide enhancements to our future presentations. That link is also available in the chat window at the bottom of the project webpage and in the description field of the project YouTube channel. Once again, the public comment period is open through May 21st, during which time you can reach us through the project email and voicemail. Thanks again for taking the time out of your evening to view our presentation. We hope it was educational and informative. At this time, the project team will be answering any questions that come in. Thank you again. Okay, Kentaro, we've got a question from Joe. He asks, both Old Ellington Road and Mahoney Road approaches to Route 191 are on a steep grade. Will the proposed realignment at Route 191 worsen existing conditions? Will there be a flat landing area?
All right, thank you, Kevin. It's DOT policy to maintain the existing roadway geometry or improve it, so I don't believe we're going to make the situation worse. In regards to the flat landing area, we're still early in the preliminary design phase, so I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Thanks, Kentaro. So I would just add that we'll dig into that for you, Joe, and we'll see if we can get some more detail to our answer with the report of meeting that ends up getting posted. So we'll dig into it and see if we can add more info for you. Kentaro, Joe followed up with another question. Numerous vehicles turn left from Mahoney Road onto Route 191 and then turn right onto Old Ellington Road. Can the two town roads be realigned opposite each other to create a four-legged intersection? This would eliminate the offset intersections and normalize movements.
Currently, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. We'll certainly, touch base with our highway design engineers and discuss it. And like Kevin mentioned earlier, we'll give you a more detailed answer in our reported meeting, but off the top of my head right now, I don't think that's going to be possible.
Yeah, I'd like to add that, Joe, really what's dictating, I would say the reason that is not in the cards is just because of the skew or the location of the proposed bridge, in relation to those intersections. So the geometry just doesn't work. We, again, and this is for all folks out there listening, any information we provide as verbal tonight to questions, we can certainly add information in report of meeting as we dig into it further. Thanks. So a question has come in by voicemail. Can you please run through the detour again? Corey, if perhaps you can pull up the detour map and walk people through that.
So the detour is going to follow Route 191 up Mill Street here, and then following 140 to the north, and proceeding down 140 to the west, and then eventually turning onto Route 5 and heading south until you meet Route 191 again and turn left, and that brings you back over to Wells Road to the other side of the bridge. It's about 11 miles, and this is going to run from March of 2023 to November of 2023.
Thank you, Corey. So Joe has followed up again with he's pointing out you could install the bridge to a new location that accommodates the four-legged intersection. Just want to follow up. It's there's site constraints and other issues regarding location of the existing substructure and how we have to locate the existing bridge relative to the existing substructure that that are the reasons why it's oriented the way it is. And that would make it very challenging, I'll say. Never say impossible, but extremely challenging to orient the bridge in such a way that it would be opposite both legs. Again, I'm gonna say it though. We will take your comment into consideration as we do all comments, and we will look at it. So I want to remind people who are listening in or watching at this moment, you can reach us through our DOT project email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov. You can reach us by voicemail at 860-944-1111, or you can leave a chat in the MS Teams chat if watching on MS Teams this evening. Thank you. So a question has come in by email. How long will the new bridge last? Kentaro, do you want to speak to that?
Yep, thanks, Kevin. The bridge is designed for a 75-year service life.
Thank you. This is the open question and answer session following the presentation of State Project 46-127 to the public. Our design team is available for any questions regarding the project that you'd like to ask. Please contact us through email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov, or call us and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111, or send us a chat through MS Teams chat. If viewing through YouTube, the above contact information is also provided in the description field. Thank you. Okay, a question has come in by email. Can you explain again why the detour is necessary? Corey, if you could bring up the picture of the ISO, I believe it was.
Sure. So it's a truss system. So we have the deck that is supported by these floor beams, which are carried by the truss members, which carry it to the substructure. You can't remove one section of the truss. I have a laser pointer, hold on. You can't remove this section and run traffic on half because the floor beams aren't supported on one side, so the load won't properly transfer. So basically you'll have a floor beam system that's not complete if you remove one of the trusses.
Thanks, Corey. Kentaro, a question came in by voicemail. Someone has asked, how much money will this cost the town?
All right, thanks, Kevin. The project won't cost the town any money. It is funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds. Thank you.
Thanks, Kentaro. This is the open question and answer session following the presentation of State Project 46-127 to the public. Our design team is available for any questions regarding the project that you'd like to ask. Please contact us through email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov or call us and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111 or send us a chat through MS Teams chat. If viewing through YouTube, the above contact information is also provided in the description field. Thank you. Okay, Kentaro, an email question. Can you go over the schedule for the detour again?
Yes. The utilities are scheduled to be moved in the fall of 2022. The bridge replacement portion of the project is scheduled to begin in spring of 2023. Route 191 will be closed at the bridge around March of 2023, and the detour will be in place till November 2023. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Kentaro, a voicemail. Will there be any interruption to the utilities during construction? Will there be any new lighting installed?
As Corey mentioned, we have the 16-inch water main to the north of the bridge. We have overhead utilities directly south to the bridge, which includes Frontier, I believe Frontier, Eversource, and I believe Cox. And then we also have the sewer to the south of the bridge. We don't anticipate any utility impacts to the water main, and we don't anticipate any interruptions in utilities to the relocated utilities, which are the overhead power and communication lines, as well as the sewer lines. And in regards to new lighting, at this moment, there is no proposed, we're not proposing to install new lighting.
Thank you, Kentaro. This is the open question and answer session following the presentation of State Project 46-127 to the public. Our design team is available for any questions regarding the project that you'd like to ask. Please contact us through email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov or call us and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111 or send us a chat through MS Teams chat. If viewing through YouTube, the above contact information is also provided in the description field. Thank you. So questions come in by voicemail. During the utility relocation, will there be any road delays, detours, or interruptions? I would say that certainly there would be, you could expect alternating one-way traffic conditions to exist during the utility relocation. I don't know that we would expect detours, and we have average daily traffic of 1,500 vehicles on this road. Assuming that we've got only alternating one-way conditions, traffic should move through the site during the utility relocations, that is, without too much delay. But, you know, there would be some construction work going on. So, you know, delay is all relative. If somebody's sitting in the car for a minute, you know, I don't know. It's impossible to say. I would expect traffic to move through the utility relocation portion of the site without too much interruption. This is the open question and answer session following the presentation of State Project 46-127 to the public. Our design team is available for any questions regarding the project that you'd like to ask. Please contact us through email at dotproject46-127@ct.gov or call us and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111, or send us a chat through MS Teams chat. If viewing through YouTube, the above contact information is also provided in the description field. Thank you. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap it in a few. Please get any questions you've got. Please send them in. We'd love to send any responses. Folks, there's the link to the survey is in the MS Teams chat window. Again, if you're listening in or watching on YouTube, the survey is posted in the description field. That survey can be found at https://www.surveymonkey, one word, surveymonkey.com/r/VCQYJZ3. We'd love to have you fill out this voluntary survey. It'll help our presentations going forward. Thanks very much. Folks, anything else? Okay, folks, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody who's still watching, and thank you so much for attending this evening. I want to remind everybody that the comment period is open to May 21st. Have a good night, and thanks again.